everyone. The doctor on our list today is a hero who worked hard to save a life despite the excruciating emotional pain she was in. When a young girl was brought to the hospital by her parents, she had no idea that she would be treating a man who had killed her father. While it's normal for doctors to form bonds with their patients, it can sometimes be challenging for them to maintain objectivity if they become too attached to one patient. In order to avoid letting their feelings for a patient cloud their judgment, doctors must always keep in mind what is best for the patient's health. He had been stabbed in the chest and was bleeding profusely. Just 2 days earlier, her father had been stabbed to death on the street outside their home in what was thought to be a random attack. She knew that if she allowed herself to panic, it could have dire consequences for both her and her father. Even though Dr. Brennan was successful in saving her father's life, she was inconsolable. She cried for hours, unable to stop the sadness that was consuming her. He knew how dedicated she was to her job and how much her patients meant to her. He held her hand. He wiped away her tears and he listened patiently as she talked about her day. Her quick reactions and medical expertise likely saved her father's life, but it came at a great cost to her own emotional well-being. It is important to remember that even the most skilled and composed medical professionals are still human beings with emotions and that they need support and understanding when faced with difficult situations. Dr. Breen's story is a powerful reminder of the importance of mental health awareness and the need for healthcare workers to have access to the resources they need to cope with the emotional toll of their jobs. He didn't try to minimize her pain or tell her to just snap out of it. She knew that she needed to take care of herself in order to be able to continue working as an emergency room doctor. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers reached out to offer their condolences and support. This outpouring of love and sympathy helped the family through a difficult time and reminded them that they were not alone. In the years since the incident, Dr. Breen has continued to work as an emergency room doctor, helping countless people in need. She has also become an advocate for mental health awareness, speaking out against the stigma surrounding mental illness and encouraging others to seek help when they need it. Through her work and activism, Dr. Breen is honoring the memory of her father and making a positive impact on the world. During her time away from the hospital, she sought therapy and spoke to friends and family about her experience. She also took some time to reflect on her career and the toll that it was taking on her mental health. Ultimately, Dr. Breen decided to return to work. Knowing that she was making a difference in the lives of her patients, she also made sure to prioritize her own mental health by setting boundaries, taking breaks when needed, and seeking support from her colleagues and loved ones. Instead, he let her express her emotions and be honest about how she was feeling. He reminded her that she wasn't alone and that he would always be there for her no matter what. His unwavering support and understanding gave Dr. Breen the strength to keep going, knowing that she could rely on him during this difficult time. He also knew that this particular case was especially difficult for her, and he wanted to show her how much he cared. When he found her crying in the back room, he immediately wrapped her in a tight hug and told her how proud he was of her. He knew that she had done everything she could to save her father, and that had to count for something. He stayed with her for hours, talking to her and comforting her until she finally calmed down. After exhausting every other option, she finally called her husband, Dr. Andrew Brine, for assistance. She explained the situation to him and asked for his support. She was overwhelmed with grief and just needed someone to talk to. When Dr. Bren received a call from his wife, he immediately dropped everything and rushed to the hospital. He knew that this was a traumatic experience for her, and he wanted to be there to support her through it. He arrived at the hospital as quickly as possible and went straight to the emergency room to look for his wife. He found her in the back room crying uncontrollably, and he rushed to her side to comfort her. She felt a deep sense of guilt and anguish over not being able to save him from death. Dr. Brain broke down in tears after finishing her shift in the emergency room. She couldn't believe that the man she had been operating on was her father. She had tried her hardest to save his life, but he had died anyway, and she couldn't help but feel as though she had failed him. She had to remain calm and focused on the task at hand. Dr. Breen had no choice but to treat her father like any other patient, even though she was his daughter. She knew that if she didn't, he wouldn't survive. Therefore, she performed open-heart surgery on her father and saved his life. The police had been unable to apprehend the perpetrator, and her father had died in the hospital from his injuries. Now, here he was on the operating table in front of her, needing her expertise to keep him alive. Dr. Breen was shocked and horrified, but she quickly recovered her composure. Despite the shock of recognizing the patient as her father, she knew that he needed medical attention immediately. Without hesitation, Dr. Breen dropped everything and rushed to his side. She began chest compressions and mouth-to-nose resuscitation. Her quick reaction probably saved her father's life. Dr. Breen immediately went to work on stabilizing the patient, knowing that his life was in danger. Despite the gravity of the situation, Dr. Breen remained calm and focused on the task at hand. As the medical staff worked feverishly to save the man's life, Dr. Breen directed the team with a steady hand, ensuring that everyone was doing their part. Despite the efforts of the medical staff, the man's condition continued to deteriorate. Even though the doctors were able to stabilize him long enough to perform surgery, his prognosis was still quite grim. They were able to get the surgery done without delay thanks to Dr. Breen's timely intervention. Dr. Lorna Breen did everything she could to put aside her personal feelings for the sake of saving the man's life. The young girl's father had been murdered, and the perpetrator was none other than her own mother's boyfriend. She was highly regarded by her colleagues and patients alike due to her calm demeanor and capacity for hard work. At the hospital where she worked, she was the chief of the emergency department. During the day, she oversaw the activities of several residents, and she was well liked by her coworkers because of how well she got along with them. She took her obligations very seriously and was deeply concerned about the welfare of her patients. Despite the stress of her job, she never complained. Instead, she took pride in the fact that she was able to help so many people every day. She knew that even though being an emergency room doctor was stressful, the lives of those she treated depended on her ability to remain level-headed in difficult situations. The murderer had stabbed her father in the chest and left him to die in the street. However, he had not gotten away with his crime. A passerby had seen what had happened and had called the police, who had swiftly apprehended him, and now he was lying on the operating table in front of her, waiting for his life to be saved by her. But when she looked up and saw his face, she felt her heart break all over again. If you are ready, let's get started. A doctor who is emotionally detached from her patients is more likely to be able to make rational decisions about their treatment. Breen was an accomplished and dedicated doctor who worked at a busy New York City hospital. One evening, while Dr. Breen was working the night shift in the emergency room, a critically injured man was brought in by a paramedic. But when she looked at the patient's face, she couldn't believe what she was seeing. It was her dad. Despite the gravity of the situation, Dr. Breen fought to keep her emotions under control. When her family heard about the incident, they were very proud of her for maintaining her composure and doing everything she could to save her father's life. As soon as her shift ended, Dr. Breen went into a back room and let the tears flow. Dr. Andrew Breen was a kind and supportive husband who was always there for his wife. During those long hours in the emergency room, Dr. Andrew Breen was a constant source of support for his wife. It's not easy for anyone to remain calm and focused when faced with such a traumatic event, but Dr. Breen managed to do just that. After the incident, Dr. Breen took some time off to heal and recover. In the aftermath of the incident, Dr. Breen and her family were grateful for the support they received from the community.